we have to answer one really important question. Can this thing actually sizzle? I purchased this with my own money. I was actually keeping an eye on this product for quite some time, doing my own research. I've been wanting a little grill like this for my camper van. And in Colorado this year, it was actually on sale at Walmart. So I picked it up and have been using it ever since. So for the last month and a half or so, I have been using this product periodically. So I do have some experience with it. But we are going to be doing some more systematic testing today to give you some more raw data. But I will be talking about some of my experience using this cooktop, as well as the testing parameters that we're going through. Now, when I look at testing a product like this, I always look at the marketing language, and that's usually where I go first. So this is marketed to be able to have edge-to-edge heating. It's marketed to have a smokeless grilling experience. It's marketed to be easy to clean, and they give you parameters on how long it takes to heat up. So these are going to be all things that we look at during our testing, as well as the portability and power consumption of the product. First off, let's talk about the portability. Obviously, you can see here on camera, it's not very big. This is, and I'm going to read my notes here, 14.72 inches deep, 15.16 inches wide, and 6.1 inches high. And it weighs only 7.8 pounds. So for you van lifers and you RVers out there looking to put this into a smaller space, the footprint really is pretty nice. Does seem to have a pretty durable build quality to it, but we'll talk about those elements kind of throughout the review process here. The overall design of it is really simple. There is just one dial up front that controls your different temperatures. There is a light indicator that turns on when the power is on. And for my particular model, it came with some grill recipes, as well as a link that you can go check out more grilling recipes from Ninja. There is stamping all along the sides and top that show a heat mark that warn you against certain elements of this heating up. I learned that the hard way, not paying attention in the van one time, and I did actually kind of burn my finger on the top. But nonetheless, there is clear markings, so make sure you check that out when you're using a hot surface like this. But the portability stuff, really honestly, is things you can read online. So let's jump to some more of our testing here. And the next element I want to go over is the time to heat up. Now, I tested this by cranking this all the way to 500, which is the max temperature. They say on the Ninja website that it takes about 7 minutes to preheat. In the environment that we tested today, we were in my house, which was set to 68 degrees, so super nice inside. I set the timer, turned it on, and honestly, I can't sit here and say that it did or did not meet the requirements. It was within the ballpark. I wasn't fully watching it. I was doing some work while doing the testing, so it was about that 7.5, 8 minute mark that I checked, and it was fully heated to that 500 degrees. Now, I'm going to take a second to talk about the actual temperatures of this. I have noticed that this is running hot. So when I set to that 500, it was actually more in the 530 range. Now, this has been something that I've kind of noticed somewhat during my time using this over the last month. Obviously, I was not putting a temperature gauge to it at all. I was just cooking with it, and you can usually tell if something's cooking a little hot. You just turn it down a little bit. Being able to actually measure during this test, it was interesting to see that throughout all of the temperatures that we used, it was running a little hot from time to time. So especially when the lid was down, but obviously that helps keep the heat and retain the heat in there. So now one of the big things that Ninja talks about is having edge to edge heating. I'm going to remove the inner part here to kind of show you where the coils are. So I'm going to take the lid off too, so I'm not having to faff with that. So if you see, the coils really aren't edge to edge. There is a gap for having the ability for the tops to go in and out. So I wanted to show you guys that build design before we start talking about my findings. When I tested this and I heated it up and decided to check the edge-to-edge temperature, I did notice that the edges were quite a bit cooler than the center. The center was also running hot towards this main dial, but I was seeing anywhere between like a 30° to 40° delta, which is pretty crazy to think. And the main reason that I think it's crazy to talk about that is, honestly, during my time cooking with this, I have never noticed a difference. I have never really thought that the outsides were a lot cooler than the inside, and I haven't seen it really affect the performance. So for this test, I decided to jump in and test it again by throwing 3 different burger patties. And throughout the cooking process, you can see that there was nothing that was really indicating that one was cooking slower or faster than the other. All 3 patties were sweating at the same time. They all cooked and finished at the same time. They all made the same sizzle. So although numerically I'm seeing a temperature difference throughout edge to edge, I did not see a cooking performance difference, which is odd to honestly say that, but I thought it was interesting and I wanted to share that experience with you guys. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about was putting this through a power consumption test. If some of you are looking at this product for your apartments and stuff, it's not really going to matter because you're just going to plug it into your wall outlet. But for my fellow RVers, van lifers, and overlanders out there, we have to carry our power with us. Now, this is a 1415 watt power consumption device. Now, some of you may not be having a very big, powerful battery system in your vans, so I thought I would kind of meet in the middle and use a solar generator. I used my All Powers R1500, which, if you guys are interested, I do have a full review on the channel of that product. But this particular battery bank, and I wrote down some stats on it, it is an 1152 watt hour bank, and it has an 1800 watt pure sine wave inverter inside of it, so can handle running this device. What I wanted to do was I wanted to test how long it would take to realistically cook a meal. So according to the recipes that Ninja give you, they're saying it's going to take you between 25 to 30 minutes on 375 is what they want you to select it to. So I put it on 375, I cooked the chicken breast, and I noticed it took about 25 minutes. As you can see in the footage I'm showing you, there definitely was a big power draw at the beginning. It took a lot of power to get this thing up and running. But from then on, the next 25 minutes of cook time, you didn't really see a noticeable dip at that point. This maintained temperature really well. I did make sure to keep the lid closed. It is possible. Now, is it realistic? This, when I was all said and done, I had about 60% power left on my battery bank. So if I was using that for other things, I might still have enough power to get through the night if I cooked at night. If you're reliant on that power, this might take quite a bit away from you. So catch-22 there. This is a powerful device, but I do think it is still pretty efficient. The last 2 things we need to talk about is the smoke control and the cleaning setup. But before we jump into that, I'm just going to ask you, if you found value in this video so far, please hit that like button down below so the algorithm knows to push this out to new people maybe looking for the same information you're looking for. In terms of smoke control, I can't sit here and tell you that it's smokeless, because there is definitely some steam and some smoke coming off of it. Now, I wouldn't say that it's noticeably worse than pan searing something or cooking on just regular pots and pans. I do believe that the mesh top that they have on this, or this perforated top, does a really good job of diffusing that smoke so it doesn't really fully build up. Now, I was actually doing the cooking testing here in my office, which is obviously, it's a converted bedroom. It's not a place you usually would cook. I just had my ceiling fan running and it didn't get any smoky or anything like that in here. Didn't set off a smoke detector, which was right above me. So take that into consideration. I do notice if I cook with this in my camper van, I have to crack a window or I have to put my max air fan on, which is something I have to do when I'm using just my regular cooktops and my pots and pans as well. Naturally, you saw more smoke when you flipped that piece of meat for the next minute or so. You'd see some smoke coming up. From then on, you honestly didn't see too much. So can't say it's fully smokeless because there is some smoke coming off of it. I think that's just a marketing term, but it does do a great job of not allowing smoke to accumulate and creating a super smoky environment. Now, last thing is talking about the ease of cleaning, and it is super easy to clean. I was able to just take a scraper and clean up these different grill grooves. There is a grease catch. There's no way for that grease to escape. You have to then dump that out into something or however you want to take care of that. But in terms of cleaning it, scraping it is super easy, and then when it cools, the material that this is super easy to then wipe off and clean. Also, being able to remove the top is a big plus for making sure you don't get your electronics and things like that wet, being able to take this off and clean it. The only thing, it takes a long time for this thing to cool off for you to actually clean it. It took about 30 to 45 minutes for this thing to cool off to a point where I could actually comfortably touch it. So that's kind of a bummer. I have noticed that also in the camper van, but usually when I'm cooking with this, it's at night. So I just let it cool off while we're sleeping. And then because it is so easy to clean, it's not much to just pack up in the morning and hit the road. So now if you have any more questions, please let me know down in the comment section below. This has been a fun addition to my camping equipment, which I will take a second to plug that. If you guys are new to the channel, my name is Riley Clark. I am a full-time nature photographer, and this channel primarily focuses on my time out in nature as a photographer, but I do like to do product reviews like this that can help elevate your adventures as well. So if that sounds like something you are interested in, then I encourage you to hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on my latest reviews and latest adventures I'm sharing with you. Now, the last thing is, if you guys want to check out one of these Ninja Sizzles, last time I looked, they are on sale. I'm going to link those down below for you guys. Those are affiliate links. So all that means is a small percentage is going to be kicked back to me if you decide to purchase this. No extra charge to you. It's a great way to support the channel. So that is all that I have for you guys today. I will see you in the next adventure.